Hello, my name is Jaime Alvarez, and I'm a second grade teacher here at J. Paul Taylor Academy. I have been teaching for more than 20 years, and I feel like I am definitely in the right school for what kind of teacher I am. The project that we came up with is called The Perfect Day in Las Cruces. We were working with the school-wide theme of a rebirth, or thinking of the phoenix, because that's our mascot. And what our second graders came up with is, how could we help Las Cruces rise from the ashes of COVID? That was the main topic of our discussion with the class, because COVID is just part of the world now. So they were thinking on how to make things better and get out of the ashes of COVID. They wanted to help Las Cruces. In brainstorming, we came up with a way to help bring tourists to Las Cruces. We got the idea because one of our students is interested in traveling, and they're very sad because their family can't travel. So we started asking that person how they got their idea where to go, and she said that they work with travel agencies. So we started to research what that was, and the kids thought that if they thought they can come up with a perfect day in Las Cruces, that they could use that to help bring visitors to Las Cruces and help Las Cruces rise from the ashes, because the students think that if we bring tourists here, that brings money, it helps businesses because they get more visitors and more marketing or more advertisement out for the city. Once we got that idea, they came up with the perfect day, because they thought when visiting here, they don't have to research on Google. We can give them the ideas and come up with a day for them. In the background of this, we had to come up with 3 different stages for this project to happen. First stage was the background stage, where we talked about what tourist agencies were, what the visitors bureaus was, and what can we do to help bring people to Las Cruces. We also started coming up with survey questions so that way we could survey the public. When we surveyed the questions, the kids generated the questions about where are educational places we can visit, where are parks and recreational places, restaurants, and entertainment venues. They took those interview questions out into the public and surveyed their family and friends. When they got that back, we put that together and organized our data. We developed posters displaying the data and talking about where we saw trends or when we saw certain patterns. After we did that background, we worked into the research part of it. And this part is taking the ideas from our surveys and actually put them on paper and start thinking about what we are going to plan and how we are going to make brochures as these perfect days in Las Cruces. The kids have now, with this research part, developed ideas, got addresses, got all the basic information they're going to need in order to build into their brochures. The last stage is what we're at now, or what we're going to start here these last 2 weeks and hopefully finish by Christmas, is the development stage. They're having to make a timeline and actually put their day, perfect day in Las Cruces, on that timeline, to making sure that they're not overlapping in times and that they're not asking the families to go crisscross across town, and trying to make it as easy as possible for the families that are going to use our brochures to put into action. After they develop the timeline, then they start making their rough drafts of their brochures. This is on pieces of paper, and they're actually using their own artwork and just making where they want their text boxes, where they want their pictures, and other things of that nature. In order to help with this development process and the background and research, we recently took a field trip. A walking field trip to the downtown mall area, which was a very popular spot in our surveys. It was mentioned a lot. So I thought it was a great time to be able to talk to some experts and really experience the downtown area for themselves, so that way they can really write from a place of experience rather than writing from a place of guessing or secondhand knowledge. I think that the field trip was very successful. We visited Visit Las Cruces, which is the visitors bureau here for the city, and we talked to them about what their job was and how they went about trying to attract people to come to Las Cruces.
All right, I got it, Mr. A.
Back there. Right, you three, Raylin, Penelope, and Mateo, get in there, strike a pose.
Strike a pose. All right, dudes, I got you.
Hey, good morning, class. My name is Ed Carnathan. How's everybody doing? Good. Excellent. So I hear you guys are going to make a brochure. That's awesome. We have a brochure too, and I'll send this back with you. You guys can use it as a, an idea.
We also got a chance to tour the Rio Grande Theater, which is a very historical site here in Las Cruces, which a lot of my kids didn't know about.
So how many of you have ever performed on a stage before? Oh yeah? A few. Oh, you're going to. Very cool.
Next, we went to Coas Bookstore. Because Coas Bookstore was mentioned so much in our surveys, I thought it was very powerful for the kids to experience it themselves. Then for lunch, we went over to Mateo's for some local fine dining experience. And for the first time, a lot of the kids tried aguas frescas. Plus, they ordered in Spanish.
Ready? All right, thank you.
You want the book in here?
It's a pleasure to serve you. Hi, children. Good morning, and thank you for your visit to Mateo's. It's a pleasure to serve you. So all of our aguas frescas, they're all made with grilled fruit. Who likes grilled fruit? Awesome.
Me llamo Bianca, yo quiero un quesadilla para que me comer y para beber yo quiero un horchata.
Horchata, por favor. Gracias. Thank you all for joining us today for lunch. We had a blast. Thank you.
Last but not least, we went to the Natural History Museum and Art Museum so the kids could experience educational site that they're gonna suggest to other visitors. After we were done, the kids came back and talked about it and had a discussion when we were here about what really stood out to them. What was the most important thing? What was the most fun thing? Or what they can include in their brochure? And I actually heard some conversations of some kids saying, ooh, I'm going to say, if you want to catch a movie and get a little scared at the same time, come to the Rio Grande Theater. So I really felt like that was such a powerful moment for me to see as my learners putting the connection together from what they are conceptual wise, taking that and really putting experience and now meshing those two together to actually come up with a product that's going to be beneficial to our community. Here at J. Paul Taylor Academy, we practice project-based learning, and a big part of project-based learning in the final stages of the project is to have a connection to the community. This connection to the community is very, very important to projects because it gives the students a sense of ownership and a sense of that they are making a difference. instead of just handing in something to the teacher and it being forgotten about. Our brochures are going to be displayed when we're done and completed and published them. They're going to be displayed in hotels, local stores, the Visitors Bureau of Las Cruces, so Visit Las Cruces, and also some parents have volunteered some Airbnb properties. So knowing that their creations, their brochures are going to be something that are used not only right now, but for years to come, is a very big motivator for these students to create something that's not only useful for them and not only thinking about themselves, but also thinking about how they can make a difference as a second grader in Las Cruces, rising from the ashes of COVID. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to see how our project develops. And if you want any more information, please click on the link below for J. Paul Taylor Academy information.